Hi, it's Martin's Engine Services. Well, going to continue now dismantling this very poorly voxel vivaro engine. The M was an m9r 782 unit, which was a 2 litre. This is the engine I purchased just basically price of scrap, hoping to nick a head off of it. The other engine project potentially blah blah blah. I did explain in the first video things went slightly awry, so now it's ending up basically as salvage a few bits and mostly scrap. Now I'm going to continue taking this apart. I've taken off all the manifolds and bits and bobs around the outside and salvaged any parts that look useful. I will be taking the valves out of this because they are the same as the other engine, so you might need some of them. So basically now I'm going to take the head off and see what we can find. I do know that this has a very bad bottom end knock, because when you turn it over you can really hear something clanging and banging in there, so it could be quite spectacular. So let's get things set up and proceed. Right, that's quite a good angle. So well, first of all, what should we take off first? That's just the water pump to go, basically the head. So let me just pop that water pump off out the way. Then we can pull the head off and see what we find. Blimey, that was a good tight one. Oh, I probably undone that earlier. I think I'm doing bits and pieces as I go, so. Seems to be stuck on an O-ring. Seems to be quite a theme with this engine, stuck on O-rings. The high pressure diesel pump really took a fight to get out the end of the head. The O-ring got a proper bite. Okay. We'll raise the stakes and attack it with 2 bars. Aha, there we go. Okay, it'll take longer to get the water pump off than it will to get the head off, I think. There it comes. Seems to be in good order. Well, what have we got in the head bolts? Very large torques. They are a E18. And I bet they're very tight, so I've got the big bar. Grief. Yeah, they're tight. We may have to go up to the 3/4 drive on this one, folks. Oh dear. Okay. Right, I'll get all them undone. I've been watching me struggling for 20 minutes, and I'll bring you back once we've got them undone. Well, won the fight of those. I had to resort to laying the engine down on its side and actually hanging on the breaker bar. Wow. Excuse me. They were properly tight. Oh, excuse me. I've still got the lurgy. It gets better, it comes back. Ugh, horrible. Considering how tight these bolts are, they don't go in very far. They're literally in about that much. Quite surprising. Wow, they were tight. If you're doing this in the vehicle, you've got to hope your engine mounts are good, I think, when you pull the bloody light out. They're all equally tight, so there's no nasty surprises. Right. Okay, well, let's battle that off. Let's see. Let's come away nice and easy. Right, let's tip the head up on end on here, see what we've got. Aha! We have evidence of pistons hitting cylinder head. Looks like, yeah, 3 have been hitting. Let's lay this down so you can get a better view of it. Yuck. Actually, they've definitely been hitting rather well, because I'll just take you around and show you this. In the face of the cylinder head there, these numbers, these are actually the specification numbers on top of the pistons, the measurements and weights and everything. It's left their imprint in, it looks like cylinder 3 is the only one that's happy. Oh dear. Oh, that's intriguing. I'm just looking at the valves here because you've got... Okay. That's an intake, that's an intake. They're both exhausts. Oh, there must be some weird setup because obviously you've got 2 types of valves there. It must be somehow they've ported this. I'll have a look at that. But yes, we have some comprehensive... There's quite a good dent there. Now, I think we should safely say there may be some interesting things in the bottom of this. So let's get round to taking that apart. Right, so I wandered off, started looking at the cylinder head there, forgot I left the camera running. Right, let's pull off the old dreaded finger slicer head gasket. Original Renault gasket, looks to be in good order. This did actually have 4 compressions when you turned it over, so... Right. If any of you have seen Eric from I Do Cars, this is his favourite tool for testing the pistons. He's just done a great video on Sunday morning, or Saturday I think it was posted, on the Mazda 2.3 Duratec, which has spectacularly exploded. It's very much worth a look. It's similar to the 2 litre one I pulled apart, but it's got some very Martin's off again, impressive damage, including a split up the front of the block. Right, so let's turn this over, see what happens. Take them down a bit. Oh! Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, there's definitely some delayed action in there. Normally you don't put mole grips on the end of a crankshaft, but in this case I don't think this crankshaft's going anywhere again. Or should we say it would need a wee bit of regrinding. Right, let's have a listen. Oh! The number one piston seems to be doing that in the bore for good measure. It's quite funny, if you just sort of take an overall view of this engine and you watch it, you can see all the pistons moving at different times. So, hey, I guess they've done that Nissan thing with that variable stroke engine with the 2 crankshafts and them extra con rods. Oh well. Yes, I think we can safely say that something is not quite happy in the bottom of there. So I think my next phase of operations is to just roll this thing upside down and just pull the bottom off. I don't know what sort of a mess we're going to make here, but we've made enough of a mess. I think the turbo return line needs to come out. Oh well, that's just snapped off. You wouldn't reuse one of these anyhow because they're notorious for breaking. The 1.9 does that, and it's positioned over here, and it is an absolute nightmare to change in situ. This one looked a bit better to change, but we won't be chancing that. They're those things that are guaranteed to fail if you don't change them. Likewise, the turbo feed pipe, high pressure, was another known problem. Because they ran in the proximity to the exhaust, the oil congealed inside, and they tended to block up and take out the turbo. So definitely something that wants attending to. Right then. Oh, there's more pieces of the cam cover there with my unconventional removal procedure. Don't worry about that. There's nothing to worry about. So let's turn this lump upside down and. It's still a very heavy engine, even just at the bottom end. As a whole engine, it's exceptionally heavy. Not quite up there with the Transit DI kind of heavy, but... There's some coolant coming out, of course. No matter how many times you drain the coolant, there'll always be some hiding somewhere. Right, dump a few old rags down here to catch the inevitable Armageddon that's about to fall out of this. Turn it over. Just around on the table. Right then. Oh dear, we've got a right old mess going on here, folks. A right old mess. Never mind. It's all under the heading of entertainment. So, next job is to take off this lower sump pad, which isn't exactly very tight. In fact, it's almost loose. I wonder if someone's been having an investigation into here. Anyhow, I'll zip all them bolts out and I'll bring you back when I've done that. Right, well that's got that apart. Off anyhow. So this lovely oily mess here is basically the crank support or girdle plate, we're going to call it. And oh, it's full of this sort of very fine grinding paste. I think is the best word to describe that. Now, oh dear. I think we've got one good one left. Right, oil pump. This is a truly horrible job. Is that it for bolts? Huh. Slightly unusual idea, they're just 2 bolts. Huh. I'll investigate that later. I'll put that in the carnage tray. Okay. Well, we'll leave that there, no idea. Right, we've got a pickup, obviously got the crankshaft pickup ring there, crankshaft sensor pickup. And as you can probably hear, things aren't quite right in there. So, get the mole grips on there and they'll start buzzing the big ends off. Weird size. What strange size are they? 11mm, okay. Right, let's get this crankshaft turned around a bit. Ooh. Oh dear. That's quite spectacular. I definitely think we can say there's a little bit of play in here. Right, let's take this one off, see what we've got in here for a laugh. Oh. Well, I don't think there's going to be a bearing in there, shall we say. This must be making a truly remarkable amount of noise with 3 big ends gone. 3 big ends gone and 3 pistons hitting the head. Wow. Do we still have a bearing? We do still have a bearing. Oh. Well, it used to be a bearing. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Things are not quite right, folks. There's one absolutely hammered bearing shell. And there's its counterpart. Wow. As you see there, they're not actually even semicircular anymore. They're kind of they're sort of pinched in them at the tops. Oh, look at that. Surprising, they weren't spun, or they may have done and just ended up back in the normal position. Wow. There is a ridge on the side of that crank that's probably heading for 1mm. Good grief. Let's have a number 4 off, or number 1, whichever we're going to call it. Oh, that was loose. Ah, right. That one probably wasn't far away from throwing the cap off. It's hammered the bolts loose. Oh yes. Again, that was still in the. That was still sitting like that. You can just see the slight problem there. Oh, oh dear, dear. There's as many grooves on the outside of the bearing and in the cap as there is on the inside. Yeah, I think that's lost its tension there. We got some metal transfer as well. Yeah, that one was taking it. And the crankshaft. Wow. Okay. Let's send all them down. Right. Let's have a look at the good one and see what that's like. Well, I'm not saying good, but it's better. It's not flapping around. You kind of wonder how one bearing manages to survive in something quite like this. Yeah, it's still got a good tension into the cap. There's some pickup marks on it. Let's get it in focus. There's some pickup marks there on it. Slight roughness to it, but it hasn't actually destroyed it, and it's still sitting perfectly in the cap. It hasn't spun it or anything. It's coppered the bearing on that one. See, it's worn the bearing material off and it's just got through to the backing, but that one hasn't spun. What I'll actually do, hello, there's a spider in there now. I think what I'll actually do, all jokes aside, is I'll keep that cap and rod to one side, just on the off chance if that other engine up there we do repair that other engine, and number 4 big end had gone, or there was a problem with the rod or the piston, I've got a good spare one. It's unlikely, but we won't throw it away at this stage. Until you finish the job or potentially done a job, never throw anything away. And here comes the other one, which we think may be a little unwell. Right, where's my bearing? Oh, she's spun. Oh, yes. Oh, wow. Oh, that one's properly done it. Phew. I can't actually imagine there'd be enough material on this crank to grind it if you could get bearings, and it's probably bent, and you wouldn't bother with one of these, but oh, look at that. The punishment they've taken. Wow. They must be some pretty good tough bearings to have survived that much punishment without breaking up completely. Well, that crank is proper. Wow. What I'll do, I'll pop the crank out, put it on the bench, and I'll get you a close up on that. Well, we have removed the crankshaft. Main bearing caps surprisingly weren't very tight. They're all equally done up, but a bit bizarre. I thought they'd be quite tighter than that. However, the carnage, I've laid the caps out in order because this appears to be a good block. And I won't throw it away at the moment, just on the off chance. And obviously 3 of them rods are absolute scrap. One's good. Now the poor old crankshaft, it has to be said, has taken some serious abuse. Just grab the vernier. I'm going to do a bit of a down and dirty measurement on it. Now, there is the carnage of numbers 1, 3 and 4 big end journal. Now that there is scored beyond belief, and that had that bearing there running on it. So you can see the lines will match up. The main bearings, they're actually wider in the cap than they are in the block. Now, this one's had a fair groove worn in it, which is obviously debris. And I would say that looking at you can see that like discoloration and black sort of staining. that is contaminated oil, and you can smell in here sort of sulfated heavy Martin's off again, heavy smell of sulfated diesel in the oil, and I guess that is the staining from the combustion gases and the acids that are trapped in the oil. They're all showing signs, obviously, of scuffing, but not as bad as you'd expect. Excuse me. So there's the big end that had worn through on the good rod, and the rest well. And yes, you can see how much wider they are, because how much he's hammered the big end out. I'd say Renault must use some very, very substantially strong bearings to withstood that much hammering without them breaking up and splaying out. Let's see if we can turn this crank over to a better position. Be careful not to damage it. Now there's a beautiful view of the scoring. Hang on, where are we? There we are. Wowza. And there is actually a lip in places that say it feels about 1 mil. Right, let's take the best of them and see what they should be. Only approximately, I mean, 5196. Oh, 5115. 50.80, 1.16 millimeters missing off that journal. Wow. God, that's incredible. And that one, oh, that's fine. That's only missing 0.03 of a mil. That's the detail. Yeah, that's missing nearly 1 mil there. I know this one's bad because I don't know if it's going to quite show up. Oh, you can just see it. That there, get it in line. That step that the vernier is running up, the tail of the vernier, that is almost 1 millimeter deep. Wow. It's got a robust little crank, quite solid unit, quite heavy. It's got a good substantial nose on it where the chains go, and yes, it was obviously perfectly conditioned at one point. Well, even if you could get bearings, you'd never grind that out. I mean, you'd have to go about probably 3 mil to take that out. So that's definitely done for that one. Oh, that's impressive. That's impressive. Yes, I think a couple of these bearings may be going in the Black Museum. Ooh. Poor thing. Wow. So that must have been really impressive, because there's those numbers in the head again. Is it actually just in the carbon, or is it actually stamped them into the alley? No, it's actually stamped them into the alley. They're actually stamped into the cylinder head. Yeah, you can actually feel them. Wow. Oh, that's kind of cool. Number 3 survived. Wow. Yeah, they've just embossed them very nicely. Okay, that's fairly spectacular, to say the least. So the rest of the block appears to be okay. The bores, I had a quick look at the bores, they didn't feel too bad. There's a little bit of rock in this number 1 piston. Yeah, it's not hideous. It's not hideous. I mean, I doubt we'd be using this block at all, but I say, until we decided what's happening with the other van, I'm not going to throw these bits away yet. They're all going to stay, all the good bits can stay indoors, and the other bits of rubbish can go out in the scrap. So I've got a good block, if necessary, usable pistons, 1 good rod. You know, if he's going to repair that one, he's going to want to do it on a budget, and any useful parts are useful parts. A bit like all the nuts, bolts, fixings, and bits and bobs like that. You invariably find a few broken fasteners and missing bolts along the way. So, you know, if you've got a whole set of this, it's quite handy. But that concludes the carnage of the poor old Vivaro engine. That's pretty spectacular. So when the guy said in his advert, engine for scrap has a bottom end knock, he was pretty much spot on. So I can't disagree with that. And as I said in the previous video, for what I gave for it, so the catalytic converter will pay me back almost twice. So, and of course I got some good scrap aluminium out of it. A few bits of plastic to take off, it's all good alley. I will take the oil pump apart and have a look in there. Don't think it's going to be that exciting, it feels okay. I guess maybe it would just run low on oil. Potentially the old turbo failed internally. The oil went up the intake, it burnt the oil and it ran low. So we'll never really know, but that's what it looks like. So I've got a lovely, horrible, oily mess to clear up now, which is delightful. Strip a few valves out the head and the rest of that can get launched. And that will be that, as they say. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video about the carnage of a poor old 2 litre m9r engine. And I'll leave you with a final view of that lovely crankshaft and those beautiful bearings. There's not more I can say apart from Anyhow, thanks very much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of this video. Well, I didn't call it part 1, but what I should have called part 1, with the ripping and the tearing of how I got the cover off. So please like and subscribe. It's always appreciated. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and bye for now.